All right. Hey guys, it's me, Jamesy. I'm here for another episode of Pro Cycling TV. Fortunately enough to be joined by Kelli Emmett. Thank you very much.
Thanks, James.
Kelli works with Juliana, sports marketing director, sports marketing manager.
Sure, I like director. Well,
yeah, director sounds good. I like that one.
That sounds good.
Then you also manage the Juliana Pro team, who you've got 5 girls and 2 juniors this next year. So that's awesome. So I want to talk about that, but first I want to talk a little bit about your career and where you came from and stuff like that. So how long were you racing? Or when did you start racing?
I'm gonna sound old, but I started racing about 17 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah. And
you were about 5 years old.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Exactly. And both my brother and dad were into racing and riding bikes. My brother got into it first, then he got my dad into it, and then they took me out and showed me the ropes, and I thought, this is terrible. Why do they do this? This is so hard. And I mean, they took me out. It was a Michigan day. It was overcast and 12 degrees out. So that was like my first introduction to mountain biking, and I was just like, I think I rode 2 miles, and it was really tough. And so it took me a few more months to actually kind of get into it. But then once I started to ride a bit more, I fell in love with it.
So did you start racing in Michigan?
I did, actually.
Do they have hills?
Yeah, I know, right?
I genuinely don't know. I'm English. I don't know the geography of this country.
It's very similar to riding in England, I guess I would say.
That sounds awful.
No. There's some small hills. I grew up in southeast Michigan, so there's even less.
Right.
But there's an amazing mountain bike community and scene, and there were several race series, and there was only cross-country racing. There really wasn't downhill back then. So. But it was great. It was really fun, awesome environment. And there was a guy at a bike shop that really kind of pushed me into riding, and he'd got some other successful athletes into racing. And so it was great. It was a really fun experience, and it changed my life. I wasn't the typical athlete. I partied a ton growing up and, never played a sport in my life. I usually got kicked out of gym class. And smoking cigarettes for a lot of years. And so I never dreamed, if you would have told me in high school I'd be a professional mountain bike racer, I would have never believed it.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty cool.
It changed my life, and all for the better.
That's awesome. So you started racing about 17 years ago. How long did it take you to pick up a full ride deal?
Oh, I had a pretty unusual career. So I actually only raced 2 years, and I was signed by GT back in the day. So
nice.
Which was pretty unheard of back then, and I had a lot of great success in the beginning. But I definitely didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand my body in racing. So I took a few steps back, for a few years, and had to learn all the ropes. And then, my career took off. But it was a learning process, and it was a little bit of a struggle. But I learned so much about myself, and and learned how to enjoy the sport. Love it, have a good time, and really, I guess, enjoy that process.
Well, that's the biggest thing about riding bikes. If you're not having fun, then it sucks. It's an exercise.
It's a torture.
Yeah, and it's awful.
It is awful. So I really kind of found what I loved about it, and then I thought maybe by my 3rd year of racing I was going to quit, but then I really was like, all right, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to have fun doing it, and that was kind of my motto the rest of my career. And it was awesome. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's talk about the brand Juliana. Obviously, a big connection with Santa Cruz. So what's the connection with Santa Cruz, first off?
I guess I always like to say that Juliana is the sister brand of Santa Cruz.
Right.
And so a lot of the bikes are identical to the Santa Cruz line. We just have a different name and a paint color. We change out the saddle and grips, but specs are the same as the men's bike. So it's a lot of it's just color, but I think for a lot of people it's a little bit more. It's being a part of getting women out on bikes.
No, absolutely. So as far as we talked about the grips, the saddle different, is the suspension tuned differently? A little bit lighter weight?
Yeah, it is for lighter weight riders. We do a specific shock tune on all our bikes.
Wow, that's amazing. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I like the colors better on Juliana's.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's funny, I hear that a lot, and a lot from men.
Yeah,
not
for
just
sure.
women,
Yeah.
they're like, I want my bike to be that color. So,
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
No, the colors that Juliana does are just absolutely phenomenal, and it really ties well.
And then they like kind of change some of them. We got a little bit, some of the bikes are more of a shiny, non-matte.
Right. And the mat's a pain in the ass to clean.
It is.
And work
It looks
on.
great. I love the way it looks.
Oh, it looks great when you buy it brand new, but if you can keep it up looking like that, then something else.
And then we also changed up the logo.
Yes.
So it looks a little bit cleaner this year. And
it looks very Jurassic-y Parky. Is how I've always got. I looked at it the first time when I saw Claire's.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna get a lawsuit from Warner Brothers or whoever.
Yeah.
What attracted you to Juliana? Like, it's definitely not a paycheck. We're in the mountain bike world, we do stuff for our passion, and we want to work with good companies that we relate to as people.
I guess at the end of the day, the brand really just inspired me. I remember I had decided to move on from the company I was at, and I was going through the internet, and I was just looking at all the different bike companies, and I kind of saw all this amazing imagery of girls riding sweet trails on these beautiful bikes. I mean, it's kind of funny because a lot of people think, oh, you care about the color? And I was like, well, yeah, I do actually. I like the way it looks a lot. It really caught my eye because it was that teal ruby on when I remember they launched that, and I just was like, oh. But it's also an amazing bike. So to have the combination and be able to have the same frame as the men and geometry, and it handle just as well, and the same spec, everything, but yet it looks beautiful. I was like, this is what I want to be a part of. So I called them up and I was like, do you guys mind? Can you give me a deal on a frame? Because I didn't think I was going to get a job again. And they actually were like, hey, we're going to start a team. Do you want to be on it? And so I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So it all kind of just like came together, and timing was perfect. So it's like one of those luck moments.
Who were you on the team with?
Anka Martin.
Fantastic. A badass.
Yeah, she's a total badass. And she was actually the first one to ride a Juliana branded bike. So that was in 2013, and I remember seeing her when she showed up at the first EWS that they ever had, Enduro race. Yeah. So she was there on her Juliana, and it was the first time they were officially launching that bike. Yeah. So, so that was...
So you got Anka Martin, yourself,
and Sarah Leishman.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. So she's a Whistler local, and she came on to do more content and story lifestyle, but then really got into racing and was loving it. So then she started to do more racing and went to a full season of EWS. And
wow.
Yeah.
Big fan of that.
Yeah. It's great. It's a really cool scene, and but it's hard racing. People think it's easy. They're like, oh, enduro, when you're like, oh man.
No way.
It's a big
I use an e-bike in most of my shoots, and it still is a big day. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we work a lot with Cheyenne Mountain. We work with the Manitou Monsters. We've got Fountain Valley. We hang out with those guys, which is where Claire went. So as far as junior riders, so tell us a little bit about what you see you've got 2 juniors this year, 2019, 2000.
Yeah, so we're kind of like in a trial period right now with our junior program, and we brought a girl on last year. Her name was Morgan Smith, and she's part of the NorCal NICA League. And, it turned out to be a pretty amazing experience. There's really we let the girls come to 2 races, and they get to hang out with the team, and I support them fully, like they're a pro rider at a race. And
oh wow.
Yeah, so they get the full treatment, and then they also get to hang out with these other really cool girls. I mean, all the girls on the Juliana Pro team are overachievers. Like, I was not that kid when I was like at 23. I mean, a lot of our girls are still pretty young on the pro team. I mean, they're between ages 21 and 30, but they've all, one's in med school, works as an ER doc or EMT. So it's like, they're all just really great girls, but also race. And so it's pretty cool for some like younger girls to be around them and have them mentor the younger generation. So it's a really cool program that we want to grow. We're going to bring on another girl this year, and her name is Erin Bixler, and she's also part of that NorCal League. So
Yeah.
I'd love to get some Colorado representation and Utah, and, you know, bring in some other girls from other parts of the country, and just kind of bring them together so that they can get the opportunity to ride together. And because I don't think a lot of them, I've been noticing, talking to some of these girls, that they have a hard time finding other girls to ride with at their age.
Sure.
And so they go out with their brothers, usually, is what happens. But it would be nice to have them be able to train and ride and know other women.
So as far as the junior riders, what are you looking for when you're looking for a rider? If there's anybody watching this that's like, they're thinking that maybe they really want to start trying to pick up some sponsorships for races, or what are you looking for in a rider to try and help them out, maybe support them, or is it more just go out and have fun and then work hard at it? And
yeah, definitely, like having a girl that is willing to, you know, put the time in and do the training. And you know, a lot of times I talk to coaches and try to see, you know, how, like, is this girl really improved? Does she really want to race? You know, is it something she's really into? So for me, I just like to make sure that some of the girls are, one, focused and want to race. You know, I don't want to try to push them into something. And yeah, I just like want to get to know them and see if, for me, like I do an on-phone like interview and try to just sit down and talk with them and like say, like, okay, yeah, like, do they seem like they have a good head on their shoulders? Will they work well with will they hang out well with the other girls? Yeah, with the other girls. Yeah. And so is it somebody that like I want to have on the team? Do I like, you know, so I don't know. It's hard. I don't really have a lot of like, for the junior program yet, like strict guidelines or qualifications that they have to have, because I'm still kind of trying to figure it out. But I just, for me, you know, like, are they finishing races, and are they competing in NorCal or NICA, or, you know, or competing in NICA races, and are they wanting to try Enduro? Yeah. And because not all of them want to do that. Sure. Yeah, sure, it's cool if they're good at racing, but at the end of the day, like, we just want them to be great, positive people. And represent the brand, maybe not so much through results, but if you get the results, that's rad. We're super into, that's great super when super stoked that happens, but that's not everything at the end of the day. Right, yeah, you want them to represent the brand in a good light and a positive way. Not throwing bikes at the end of race runs, for example. No bikes. Don't throw bikes, don't throw helmets. I got dropped from a sponsor many years ago for that. Did you? Yeah, I have my temper tantrums. I try not to, but I do. That's awesome. All right, Kelly. Well, I guess we should be good. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for joining us for another episode of Pro Cycling TV. Kelly, thank you so much for taking some time out of your very busy schedule. Have you got any trips coming up? I don't. I got nothing going on. It's so good. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. I've been home 10 days. It's great. Okay, well, thanks again for joining us. If you got any comments, throw them down below. Subscribe, like, share, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much. Cool. Nice. All right.